All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here to both our lovely panelists and our lovely audience. I think this is going to be a very interesting session. I know it's the end of the evening, but we're going to have a lot of fun. Two very interesting point of views I think we'll have here with our investors and our brands. So shall we begin then? I think we'll start with Mr. Abhinav. I think since we've heard the investors for a while before, so we can start with our brands now. And a very, very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
So I have to tell you all that their brand is doing some amazing work to prevent cruelty against animals, especially in the animal agriculture sector. So my question to you, Abhinav, is that what advantages does your D2C model provide in the FMCG segment compared to traditional retail channels?
Thank you very much. I represent this brand called Good Dot. We are a plant-based meat company. And as many of us might be aware, it comes across as a very new age concept. And we take a very omni-channel approach. We have done a fair bit of digital-only aspects and a lot of traditional retail channel play as well. What the D2C channel has given us is a very quick way of getting customer feedback, for example, right? Very directed customer feedback. We've been able to, as a result of it, we've been able to iterate our offerings. I'll give you an example. Initially, we started off with simple chunks of meat. When I say simple, this cutting edge, but let's say basic chunks of plant-based meat, which people had to create things with, right? So their experience depended on how they created the product. The initial feedback that we could, connect with our customers, the opportunity that this channel provided us was we could understand whether or not they're able to do a good job and does that reflect in their experience and their interaction with the product. And that was a sort of I would say, moderate sort of an experience that they got. So what we realized that we needed to move along and make some changes, and then we moved into kits with our products so that the customer experience was better now, right? So this helped us, improve our product offering that matched with the customer's expectation and led to a better conversation amongst us as a brand and the customer as a consumer. The second aspect that it helped us with was getting our message across. We onboarded for Neeraj Chopra as a brand ambassador, as an athlete, a fitness icon. And this gave us an opportunity to get our message across in a very directed sense to the kind of consumers that we wanted to reach out to. And I would say those were the two key things that jumped up very easily and quickly. And in general, D2C, of course, reduces your cost of acquisition of customers compared to traditional retail, but then we try to balance both these aspects. As a omni-channel player, we realize that we are in the food segment, which is very personal to everyone. So we have to create experience, and we need to increase triability of people in the real world. And so we marry D2C with traditional approaches of product triability and trials in the physical connect. And we marry both these aspects. Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you. Moving to Mr. Abhishek. Sir, in your segment of business, brands in the past have found it vital to give their customers a chance to experience their product, may it be feeling the material or making sure the sizing and the fitting is accurate. Since your customers may not have the opportunity to do this, what sort of strategies do you employ to establish and strengthen the customer trust in your D2C brand?
Very tricky question because the whole fashion industry is on that only. Because in the fashion, like since ages, it is more like that you want to touch and feel the fabric. Without that, you can't judge whether it is good or bad. Yeah, obviously, when we started, we were also have no idea how we will let our customer feel the fabric. So we were like just going with the flow that everything is selling on the market due to the window shopping of the customers, impulse buying, and all that. Then later on, we did a little research. We got a third-party research on our product that for our current customer base, that why customer are buying inner sense. The main problem was that like we thought like it is just an attractive product or it is looking a good color. That's why customer is buying. But surprisingly, what we come to know, people started buying the product because it is organic, sustainable, and at the more it is antimicrobial, anti-odor. We started getting the comment from we are also do the maternity lingerie. So we got comments that like the smell of the milk leakage is not coming from the product, which is like kudos to us. So but we also didn't know that this is going to be one of USP. So on the technical side, we did this. With this, we did we being like bootstrap since 2020. So we did a small, I will say, experiment to make sure that because in our industry, more than the touch and feel, the fitting is the major issue because each female has different size plus different shape also. So it's not just the size of the, like in the men's it is like SML XL only, where here you have two coordinates. One is a 32 and another, one is a numerical which is 32, 34, 36 and another is the alpha number like A, B, C, D, all that, which implies that shape and the size both together. So what we did a trial run and with the success, and we got very good success, but we didn't implement it on the full on right now for XYZ reason. We did a campaign called 301. So I think female can relate it very easily with this thing. I'm really sorry, male might not be, but later on they can understand. Sorry for that. If a customer is buying, let us say 34C size of the bra, so they have the sister sizes 34B and 34D, or they have the 36B as a sister sizes. It means the cup is same, but belt is changing, or belt is same, the cup is changing. So what we did, we thought like we are getting 8 to 10% already. We are getting the returns on the, not returns, we are getting exchange from the customer. So we try to talk to them which company they are wearing, what kind of whether it is an Indian company, international company, what kind of product, what kind of material, all that. Then we found out it is not the problem with the R sizing. In this whole industry, every brand is trying to follow their own concept of the sizing. So what we did, that 301, we started, if let us the customer have ordered the 34C product, so we started sending them 34B also and 36B also and 34D also. So initially when you hear this, like, oh, what the foolish thing you are doing, your customer is asking for one and you are sending 3 extra pieces to them. Yes, we are doing, because at that time, like FedEx was charging us 50 rupees for the shipment one way, whether it is like going or whether it is returning both way. So with that 50 rupees, I am able to make sure that 100% that customer is not going to go away. That customer is going to stay with me. And at the same time, at their comfort of home, they can able to try the product. They can feel it. Being a D2C brand, initially when you are acquiring the customer, your inventory levels are not much of the issue, because so we are able to leverage that 3 extra product for maybe 1 week, and within 1 week we call it for back. Main thing what we achieve from there, customer is able to feel the product. They know the fabric. Our fabric is better than the others because we are using organic cotton and bamboo. They are able to see that how it is fitting to them personally, case to case cases. And plus, for them, it is not a customer satisfaction. It is a customer delight for them. So they really love it. They said, oh, some brand can do that also. Like, many people ask like whether the customers return the extra product not. Yes, they return. We did a small trial only, to tell you very frankly, because we are not a very big brand in economies, but brand good in the value, sure. So we just got one customer who sent us after 12 days. But other than that, all 99 customers, or like out of 99, out of 100, I think 50 get it exchanged. Like they kept one, and the other size which they didn't order, and the other remained the same only. So that was a trial we did for us to make sure that the product, they can feel the product at their home. Because being a D2C industry, when you are in the innovation industry, you do need to innovate at product level also, at the marketing level also, at the execution level also. So it is not a pressure, but it is an compassion from inside that you need to do something new and something different which are solving the problem, not just for the saying the innovation. Second thing what we do to improvise on the hand feel and the fitting is that we make sure we call to each and every customer who return the product or exchange the product from our own website, where we have control. We do not have control over the marketplaces because we do not have their mobile numbers. But on our website, we call them. We try to understand what make them, what is the thing which make them to change this product, exchange this product to the different size. Then once we have enough data, then we put that data into our production also. So like we are asset light, but yes, we do not own the company, but that 100% run for us. So I think we are leveraging our benefit of being small right now, and helping and trying to reach to the consumer or giving them the customer delight which they were having while they were the physical stores. Or maybe not now, maybe in few years we may have some experience store also across India.
That's amazing. Some exceptional thinking. I think everyone here can agree. Okay, moving to Miss Radhika. I think a very similar question to you. Same with the wellness and the beauty sort of industry. You have to give that sort of experience to your customers. So again, being a D2C brand, I wanted to ask you, how do you create that sort of intimacy with your customers? And do you ever get a chance to do that offline? Because I remember we were talking and you said sometimes through maybe pop-up stores and stuff. So when you do get a chance to interact with your customer offline, what are the experiences that you create for them?
Thanks for asking the question. So I run a brand called Wildflower Naturals. We are primarily a direct-to-consumer brand, following the ethos of completely natural, steering away from toxic chemicals such as parabens, sulfates, the many of them, and trying to be as sustainable as possible. I'm talking about both the product as well as the value that we're trying to add. So skincare, as we've seen in the past couple of years, as a category, personal grooming space has exploded with so many brands. So many brands have mushroomed. When we started as a personalized skincare and hair care brand. The idea at that time was to understand, okay, every body is different, therefore every body's requirements and needs are possibly different. You could be looking at 5 different goals, I could be looking at other 3 different goals. So the idea was to give a really customized solution. Soon after that, we realized that compliance-wise, that was a very, very difficult route to take. We went completely vertically integrated, got our own manufacturing license. So we realized that route was not really going to take us really fast. So we switched gears quickly. We became more personalized in terms of the offering, but not customized anymore. To answer your question specifically, see, the online consumer, we try to create content that is real, that is more authentic, that is engaging. So we talk about what we're putting in the product, the key benefits in terms of the ingredients, the texture of the product, and we try and break it down for the consumer, the entire experiential journey. So, you know, involving all your 5 senses. What are you going to smell once you put that particular texture on your skin? How is it going to get absorbed? And how is it going to make you feel after that? So non-greasy, non-tacky, really soft, velvety, let's say a lavender and a floral natural essential oil fragrance one can expect. So we try and break it down for the customer like that. So when they're reading it, it's actually a very visual description that they're reading. And they get full insight into what the product has and what benefit it is going to deliver for them. So that's pretty much how we kind of try to resolve it for the consumer. Whenever we get a chance to meet our consumers offline, you know, whether it is through shop-in-shop tie-ups or through pop-ups, the idea is to always go a little extra mile and pamper them to make them experience the products, but also make it a little bit more special for them. As a brand, we try to keep holistic beauty in mind. So it is not just, okay, you know, problem is pigmentation, so put this cream and it's going to happen. But also look at, okay, how can you get better sleep? So we'll give you affirmations. How can you feel more refreshed and hydrated through the day? So we talk about our offering in a more holistic manner, something that makes you feel more empowered, something that makes you feel more pampered, and something that helps you shine as your true self. So, for example, when we do our pop-ups, we keep you know, a masseuse who will give you a 2-minute massage when they put the hand cream, or somebody who will, you know, kind of make you like do like a quick face pack or a quick face mist. So things like that we try and incorporate to make that experience a little special, all the while always educating the consumer on what this product has, what is the key differentiator, and how is it going to help them in the longer run. Because the idea is to always make it sustainable and create a more positive impact in terms of changing a habit for the for the customer. So does that answer your question?
Yes, I would not mind a massage every time I go to buy some products. That's amazing. Okay, moving to Mr. Rishabh here. We all know Jockey as an OG brand. It's been around since I think I was a kid. It's been around. If someone as a kid asked me what's underwear, I would have probably said Jockey. So, sir, as a brand that is not D2C first, you have had offline stores, retail stores. How do you integrate your online presence with physical retail experiences to create a seamless omni-channel strategy? And what technologies or tools have you found useful in bridging the gap between online and offline?
Okay, thank you. I think sitting with along other brands, Jockey being one who have been offline first and then coming to the online world. But yeah, definitely a history is there, 27 years of experience is there, a lot of learnings are there. So I would say it's easier for us to where we know our customers and we know what they need of. We have solved at least a product market fit is solved. Our customer side, sorry, our product side is totally solved. And we have to only focus on getting these Gen Z customers who are looking for online, reach to them and getting them online for our products. So when it comes to omni-channel, it's very important the way Jockey is seeing. You already have your stores across India. We have around 1250 plus stores now across India. And Jockey.dot being an online way where we have a huge customer base, around 15 lakhs plus or customers we have in the online world. We are leveraging to use our stores as a way of doing a click and collect model where you can pick up from the stores. If you order online, you can pick up from the stores or delivered from stores. So you order online, you get the delivery from your stores. Or you have a replacement, you can go back to a store and do a replacement where most of our categories are non-replacement because of the hygiene factor. That's core of Jockey products. We are very hygiene focused. But yeah, in the outerwear category, definitely we need to return. So you can spend your time, you can go to store and return and get things carried away. Other than that, whenever we talk about omni-channel, my understanding comes that it's not only limited to giving all the services to customer, whether it is click and collect, whether it is buy online, return offline, not doing it. Think from the customer perspective, what exactly customer is looking for. The way we research, the way we find out, we understand that in today's consumer market, the customer is looking the broken experience of the online world to be solved. What is that? I was just talking in one of the previous panels actually that currently a customer spend, let's say 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour to buy online, but he has to wait for 2 days, 3 days or 4 days to get that package delivered. And there's all the excitement, okay, something is coming, I need that. And we all are, because thanks to this quick commerce, we are getting a little impatient now. We need everything in 10 minutes. So I think the first customer requirement is to get something delivered fast, get it in the next day, same day, or maybe in another couple of hours. So that's the first point which we are trying to solve. And then moving them further to other use case which comes to returns or click and collect, which are small use cases, because in Indian market, you don't want customer to order online and then go for picking up from a store. As of today, we order online because it's ease. That's how online world as D2C brands has pitched us. Free shipping, free everything, and you get everything at your doorstep. So yeah, that would be our approach.
Great, very interesting. Coming to our investors now, where the money is, where the pockets are. So, sir, I have a few questions. I think it'll be any one of you can take it up or you can take it up one by one. I just want to create a sort of discussion over here between the brands and the investors. So, sir, very simply put, आप पैसे देने को हाँ कब कहते हो? किस बात पे हाँ कहते हो? Do you invest in the product or in the person behind the product? What things does a brand need to have in place when they come to you to get that yes from you? Anyone can take it up.
Is the mic on? Yeah, I can possibly take this up. So at Sauce, because we come in so early at an idea stage, right? In fact, I was just seeing one of our in the audience Sifat, who's co-founder of Innovist, she was here. To quote their example, they weren't even that company when we met them. They were pitched as Bare Anatomy, which was a customized hair care platform. And now it's a very different company altogether. Innovist is now a house of brands for digital personal care, beauty and personal care products, and they don't do a customization play. So at that time, especially at this super idea stage, the product might, so in some cases, the product is also not there, right? So we can't end up taking a bet on just the person, especially at that stage.
Just to add, I think typically, like again, we are very early stage investors, typically come in at a pre-series A stage. I think the first thing we typically look for is what's that customer insight, which the founder has come with, and basis that insight, how large is that insight or that opportunity, which in a way defines what's the market for that kind of an insight. And of course, the second thing which we look at is the founding team, because that's the team which is going to execute it. I think a lot of other things, whether it's the GTM or supply chain or the brand positioning, the pricing strategy, all that can be, worked around. But I think for us, the two key things is the customer insight, the size of that insight, and the team executing it. So I think, yeah.
Okay. See, I think I've said earlier that that we look at a different stage, but we also made exceptions and made investments at slightly earlier. So our focus is always is on the entrepreneur and the team. Is what are they focused on building, right? Are they focused on see, for us, valuation is an outcome. What you build is business, right? What you build is revenues. So are you focused on building what we call a centurion, or instead of focusing building unicorns, right? Unicorns is an outcome. Centurion is what you build. It's a $100 million revenue business. So that's what we look at in the team. Are they focused on doing that?
Add to it, we don't do idea stage. So I mean, if a lot of founders, when they come to us and they say that we need money to build the MVP, then we say no. In D2C especially, we look at the traction, month-on-month growth. We do converse with companies even if the founder says that they haven't incorporated, but they're doing something. A lot of times what happens is that founders will form a new entity later on, like they're operating out of some entity earlier, they validate it, then they move to some other entity. All of those things happen. But in D2C especially, when someone comes to us, we are looking at, of course, the founding team. Like they said, market insight, very important. Like why is the product selling? And of course, the growth numbers, like if there's any growth and how much are they spending on that growth.
Next. So I think largely we'll focus on, what is the motivation of the founders, right? Because we want founders to kind of be in the driving seat, long enough and, kind of, build it out, as a large enough, sized outcome, overall for investors. So I think coming back to the omnichannel, sort of, point, I think we will also look at, whether the founders have some sort of natural instincts and some sort of, inherent, orientation to kind of, tackle offline, right? Because we invest primarily in consumer brands at an early stage. So we realize that, more than 80% of the market is offline. So can the founder actually, have the right type of skill set to kind of tackle a retailer conversation, look them in the eye, and kind of convince, how a retailer is going to do the, kind of, push for the brand, at least in the initial days, right? So till the brand journey is built. So, yeah.
Has everybody answered, or is there someone? Okay. So another question to all of the investors here that I'd like to ask is, you have seen multiple D2C brands, you've probably invested in them, seen them grow, or any other way. What experience have you gathered around the years with D2C brands especially, and is there any sort of knowledge that you can impart on them, or some quick tips maybe?
It's a very broad question, but I think again, I'll add to what Anand was saying on the whole omni-channel piece. I think all D2C founders will need to accept that ultimately they will have to go offline. Because if that is where the customer is buying, and if that is 80 to 90% of the market, you will ultimately need to go there if you want to scale beyond a certain threshold, right? But what we've seen very interestingly is that when you start online first, the offline journey has become a lot easier, especially if, like I mentioned before, if the product market fit is real and you're not buying that through discounts, then going offline becomes very easy because then you're more confident on your winner products. So you know what exactly will work offline. That is one. Two, the distributors and retailers would also may have heard of you, and they will go online and see how many ratings you have, for example, in marketplaces. They will see if there is some pull online, and then they're willing to take that risk. The third thing that we have seen is that, especially in models where there are where it's EBO led, there are certain industries which are more EBO led, and once you're online first and you go offline, a lot of the journey gets completed offline. So a lot of the discovery may still be happening online, or discovery may be happening offline, but the final transaction can happen on either of the channels. And what that means is that the productivity of an online first brand in an EBO, we've seen it to be as high as 2x of an offline only brand on the offline channel. So it has become a lot easier to go towards offline if you've started online and you've hit a certain scale and product market fit.
I think that's a very useful insight. Anybody else on an investor panel?
So I think something that is very common with D2C brands that at least we have seen in a very short journey is that usually when brands come to us, firstly, I think because we touched upon PMF in the earlier panel, a lot of founders are not clear when they are reaching PMF or what do you call a product market fit. For example, a lot of founders, when they do certain amount of sales, they think that they've found their market. Right? They think that now we know who are we targeting towards. A lot of the founders are wrong. Most of the founders are wrong at that point of time, especially at early stage. So, I mean, we as investors, we have to tell them, okay, no, this is not just your market. Like you are still in the discovery phase, okay? So I think the validation from the market part, right, that has to be made clear between the investor and the founder as well, right? So for example, there's several brands who, when they come to us, they would be making 1 lakh or maybe a 5 lakh per month. And they think that they have found the product market fit, right? And we're like, no, not yet. You have to still work on your gross margins. You still have to work on your, GTM. You still have to figure out how will you reach, let's say, a 1 crore or a 10 crore. Like, for example, if I have to take them to, let's say, A91, how would you do that, right? And I I agree with what my, again, co-panelists were saying, that it's true, it's great to have online presence early on. It's great to have that control over data and user insights early on, and that later helps you go offline. And you have to, if you have to go, let's say, a 1 CR per month to maybe a 10 CR per month, you need to be offline as well. Like it cannot purely be online.
Maybe, just to add to, I think, what Prasoon was saying, I think a lot of times our founders ask us, like, what's the right time? I mean, at what scale should we go offline? And I think, there is no thumb rule or I think exact number at which it makes sense. But I think the way we look at it is, let's say, whenever you feel your brand equity is strong enough that, you feel that, like what Prasoon was mentioning, that the distributor knows you, the retailer knows you, and the way we look at it is, you use the online channels, of course, for revenues, but also to build your brand equity. And whenever you feel your brand equity is strong enough, like, like we've seen brands at a similar scale, maybe, 2 brands at 50 crores, but one having a very strong brand equity, when they went offline, it did really well. The other brand at a very same scale, but the brand equity wasn't strong enough. And they tried offline, it didn't work for them. So it's not necessary that 2 brands at a similar scale of business, offline will work for them. I think it's all a question of, and again, there are these different agencies who will do brand track studies for you. It's a good practice to do it, periodically and get a sense ki how strong is the brand equity, brand recall in the consumer's mind. And whenever you feel that's strong enough, that's when you actually look to go offline because, that ensures that, there's a pull and you don't get returns at the end of the period from the retailers,
Thank you.
I will just quickly add to that, not from the investor side, sitting on a brand side, but yeah. I little different view actually, because it has been a topic right now that all D2C brands at some stage have to expand offline. I see it this way that it's all about how your customer is, how you reach your customer. So I take one example, let's say JioMart, okay? Not a online space may have big pockets and they don't need, I think, rest of any VCs or anything. But yeah, just for an example, I'm talking. If we talk about a brand like JioMart, how would they go offline? Let's say tomorrow there's a competitor, a young entrepreneur open something like a JioMart. How would they go offline? For them, offline is not a real offline. Coming to WhatsApp, selling through WhatsApp is a way to target the customers who buy offline. So just quickly clearing out this statement, I would just quickly ask you guys, how many have you have buy grocery online in last, let's say, 3 months? Yeah, maybe almost or 70-80%. And you have a, let's say, JioMart app and through an app, okay? How many of your parents actually buy grocery from that app? Anyone? Maybe one or two? So it's about how you reach that grocery sabko chahiye, right? So the need is for everyone. It can be targeted for every generation. The point is how you reach them. Now you open a JioMart store. How is it that different than any other store? To reach them, what JioMart did was coming to WhatsApp. Because WhatsApp, if I ask again, how many of your parents have WhatsApp and are on WhatsApp? I think again, I will be having 80% hands up. Because everyone is on WhatsApp, right? So to reach those customers, they took a digital way only, not opening any offline stores or anything, separate under the JioMart name, let's say, and getting the orders on WhatsApp. That was the way to reach those customers. So idea is more about reaching the all generation XYZ. If that lies as your TG, as a target group, you can reach through any way. So I hope I've not offended any of the investors on this. It was a totally different view.
No, I think. See, I support what you say. Is that I think the key point that you're saying is that be where your customer is, right? If your customer is shopping in Amazon, Flipkart, be there. If your customer is shopping in a Bandra in Bombay or in Commercial Street in Bangalore, be there, right? I think the thing is, I think, see, what is the most important thing is to attract the customer, because that's the most expensive part of your business. So, if you can figure out a way to be where your customer is actually shopping, actually buying your product, I think that'll be the easiest for you to get that sale, right? I think so and that's exactly the point that he was also making.
Yeah, very valid points. Now I have a very cheeky question for our investors. Please don't hate me for it. If you don't want to answer it, don't. Have you ever said no to a brand that came to you for investment and later regretted it? I think we have all very wise decision makers here. Nobody regrets it. So
No, of course, that can't be possible. Otherwise, we won't have so many funds in India. No? So, yeah, definitely. I mean, there are lots of brands that we miss. And that's also the charm of being a founder, right? Like, you guys, as founders, are inherently need to be more optimistic. See, investors will have their own points of view, and many times we are wrong. That will always be the case across sectors, across different types of firms. And we make both kinds of mistakes, right? We miss very good quality brands and founders and companies, and we invest in not so great brands as well. So that always happens, and that's part of what we do.
thank you for that. That was very refreshing. So on to you, please.
I think every fund will have an anti-portfolio. Like, I'm sure, I don't think there's any fund in the world which will not have anti-portfolio, which are like significantly large outcomes which all of us have missed. And I think like Prasoon said, like, we'll end up investing in a lot of great founders. We'll also end up missing a lot of great founders. I think that's a part of the game, which we are in.
Okay, I think we've got 10 minutes left and a great opportunity for our lovely audience here. We've got some amazing investors here and some great brands as well. If you've got any questions or you want to pitch them against each other, I highly encourage it. Please go forward. Anybody with any questions? We've got a couple in the back, please. Can we get them a mic?
Hello. Hi, my name is Ninad. I have a question around the, excuse me. I have a question around the pitch narrative. When someone is pitching to you, there could be two kinds of narratives. One narrative could be the Uber kinds, which is, which you can explain in one line, and it's like a, world-changing idea, which is very impressive. There are also other narratives where it's more about the opportunity, right? For example, nobody in India is making stuff like this, right? Nobody in India is selling coffee which is artisanal in nature, which by the pitch of it doesn't sound so impressive, right? It's more about tapping into the opportunity. I just want to understand from all the investors out there, do you have any tips for the latter kind of narrative to make it more impressive? And what kind of opportunity-led pitches impress you guys and why they do so?
Maybe I can try and attempt to answer that. So I think, see, venture investing is a very tough business, right? So founders should realize that. So it's highly risky as well. So I think typically if 2 of 10 companies become large, I think that's the typical probability in terms of outcomes. So venture investors typically try and maximize for the size of the prize, as we like to call it. So any company that can potentially get to a certain scale and fetch those type of outcomes for stakeholders. I think that's the fundamental narrative behind any investors sort of thesis. So I think founders should aspire to pitch the business as it is and not simply state something or try to take a detour just to sound appealing to some set of investors, right? Because what you should realize is you are giving away a piece of your life's work to a partner potentially in the journey. So I think staying true to that mission and staying true to your brand purpose will I think solve that sort of hope that answered your question.
So yeah, so I think the first kind of pitch is very rare, right? I think there are very few things that can disrupt the world, which is what I started with. So I think the second kind of pitch is what we are used to in everyday life. So I think no one is expecting you to impress in the first for the first time. There's no first laugh, right, in an investing meeting. But what you get is let's say in a 1 hour slot. I think what you really get is the first 10-15 minutes of a time where you have to use that to be able to impress upon that person. Like only then the next 45 minutes is going to be productive, right? Otherwise, the next 45 minutes is going to be waste of time. So in that, I think at least what I felt is I think what has really caught my attention is if there's a product or a service that you're doing, how did that idea come about? And if you can just put the story of how that origination of the idea is, and if you can just use that in a crispier, shorter way to and catch the attention, then I think those are the meetings that at least I've enjoyed post that.
So storytelling works.
Hi, my name is Dhanraj. We are digitizing the rice trade, and we are trying to see if a pack of rice from a mill can go directly to an apartment. Very early stage. Otherwise, we are in the B2B. My question is, since I've started learning this, I realized that beer already existed. Bira added wheat into it and said made wheat beer. Wow Skincare, Neiman's as a product. I've seen that products, there was a small tweak and it became a whole category by itself, right? So I remember even in jockey, right? Once we started seeing that strap jockey, in boys, that's how underwear has already existed. So what is your insights on small tweaks that you can do in a product, innovation that you can do in a product, which then becomes a very, very big category? Is it always like this, or you have to still build everything from scratch?
See, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. So it's a common saying. I think that fits jockey some time back when this concept came. There was an age where the low-waist jeans came into fashion. Jockey never going into fashion, but that low-waist jeans fashion helped jockey to build up a whole market. They captured the gap. Okay, if there is a jeans which is going down, what sees up is underwear. Now use that to brand yourself, and they did it. It hit the market that the people liked, the audience liked, the customer liked it, and Jockey rolled that out. So I think that's one if we talk about Jockey. But on the other aspect, I was talking to one of, again, one of the top FMCGs. I was talking to their chief strategy officer. He was mentioning the same idea, which you're saying, that today, like if an FMCG market has to grow, the new Gen Z, they are talking about अनियन ले लिया, मामा अर्थ ने हर चीज़ में अनियन डाल दिया, अनियन का ही शैम्पू हो गया, अनियन का ऑयल हो गया, सब कुछ अनियन का हो गया और अनियन के बेनिफिट्स हो गए. अनियन तो घर में पता नहीं कब से खा रहे थे. Okay, so it's all about what the new age customer is expecting. Every generation, when it changes, the expectations, the requirements, the needs, everything change. How you look into, like for Jockey, where people say that हमें अपना newcomers, the competitors which comes new, they say कि the Gen Z guys don't want to wear what their parents have been wearing. It's okay. Underwear तो सबको पहनना है यार, और there is no other option as of now, so they will lie to that. So coming back to that, onion or taking some specific thing, it's a new trend which have been observed in the market coming up for the Gen Z. If you are targeting Gen Z, yes, a lot of enterprise companies, even in the FMCG world, are doing it. They're picking a beetroot or any specific thing and finding out products which can be curated basis the benefits of that. So two things, one is sustainability and one is the benefits of one particular raw material or the product which was available in our daily routine from long. That is in trend right now and it's working for brands. I hope I answer your question. Yeah, thank you.
I would like to add here a little bit. So for a brand, from the brand perspective, being an entrepreneur or a founder for some company, it is not always you need to innovate something. You need to reinvent also something. If your product, if you think the current product is not solving the customer problem, pain point, they are not solving it, and you know that you have gut feeling that I can try and I can prove that what product I'm making is making sure that customer is like customer out of that pain point, then definitely you need to innovate it. But if you think the base is already ready, but that is too old dated, and you want something new, something fresh in it, or you need it not for the problem solving but upliftment of the lifestyle of the consumer, then you need to do it. So it's not always you need to start with the scratch, but never ignore the scratch thing also. That's why I say.
Do you have any other questions? Yes, please, sir.
My name is Pratap. I'm from a home and kitchen appliance brand called Geek. We are a D2C only brand, and we are in the process of just starting the process of raising funds. We are at a stage which almost closer to what Hithendra was saying, about 3 crores MRR. So my question to the investors sitting on the table is, we have just started the process. What is an ideal way of, going through this whole process? Because there are some LinkedIn requests, you try finding out similar brands, raising funds through different sources. So what's the ideal process, so to say, to, approach this whole journey?
I think, Pratap, we have spoken before itself. So I think one way you reached out to me was good, right? Because through a common connect. So because you reached out to a friend, you got a meeting, because otherwise, I don't know whether I would have responded or not, because so many mails come, right? Not that I don't want to, but just the number of emails that we get. So that's obviously good. But if you really want to start you're serious about fundraise at the scale that you are, I would suggest that you go make it an institutionalized process. Have a banker, to represent you, so that then that there is a methodology that you're following, and at least the banker will have some relationships over reach, and you'll be able to get an audience at the right level that you need the audience. So that would be my suggestion.
Any other questions? Please, go ahead.
So this is Neerja, co-founder of Innocence. I have a question, I guess, from all the founders here or wherever they are, to all the investors. So we all are not trying to date you guys. Why do you guys ghost us? Okay. So any tips to go around that would really help. Thanks.
Some reason we shouldn't ghost. It's as simple as that. I don't think It's our problem, which we need to solve. So it's not yours.
Feedback would help, right? Like, so what I'm trying to say
Agreed.
is that
I agree.
feedback would really help, right? Like, why, what was the problem, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, there's no justification. Sorry.
We do fill the form before applying to the investors. So we hope little bit about that one, not only the sugary coated, but the where we are lacking, so that like we can like I think how I will say it, like you guys are the big brother of this ecosystem. If you're not taking care of us in terms of preparing us, I'm not saying that money is only the thing what we needed from you. I always say, I had pitched to a lot of investors, but I always say that money is just a byproduct. What we need is a support. So if you're not giving money, at least you can give support in terms of telling on our face the truth. Yeah, okay, your product is bullshit. Okay, we will take it. We will improve it. Otherwise, if you sugarcoat, yeah, well, good product, nice idea, then how we will improve, sir? I'm really sorry. I'm not going to reveal my company name, so pardon me. Just a suggestion, like being a big, like a small brother, I can
Absolutely.
No, this is a new market gap, I guess, between an investor and a founder. We need a mentor now who will fill this gap.
I think we've got some grudges coming up. I think we should head to our networking, grab some alcohol, and bang out the grudges over alcohol now. So
Without alcohol also, I think I crossed the line.
No, not at all. All good, don't worry.
So I think our time's up. Can we take one quick question? Do we have time? One quick? Okay, yes, we can take one more.
Hi, good evening, panelists. This is Anurag. I represent the brand called Trendway. We are in digital first, women ethnic mid-premium brand. We're just in a, we're a nano startup, So my question is, any of the panelists can answer. So what is being a bootstrap company? So what is the, ratio between offline and online? Should we initially go for the online, or should we go initially for the offline? Because being a bootstrap, so firstly we get traction on online, then we can go for the offline. And so number one. And number two is, are you looking for before funding, do you look for any age demographics, which the co-founders should be below 40 or above 40? Do you filter it, something you have a filtration process on the age basis also? So that may be, yeah. So that's my question.
So I'll answer that quickly, and others can, of course, pitch in. Second question, no, we don't filter on age. I mean, at least from our portfolio, I can tell you we funded startup founders from 17-year-old to 60, okay? Maybe not 60, 55 or something, between 50 to 60. So no, age is never a factor. On the first question, there's no proportion as such. Again, we don't look at the business like, okay, itna proportion online, itna offline. Depending on where your audience is, उस हिसाब से we will see कि आप market को कैसे validate कर रहे हो, ठीक है? Of course, with limited resources, you will reach out to a cheaper channel first, and then, you probably spend more on channels that have, where you have to spend more. So logically, business-wise, what makes sense is what we will see, and there's no number as such in the mind preset कि इतना होना चाहिए.
I think we can all give it up with a loud applause for our panel who's been so candid and amazing. Thank you. I think we'll wrap it up now. Thank you everyone.